My name is Tess Ulrey. I'm the Executive Director of the Coalition for Responsible Home Education, the organization that Senator Hunt just mentioned. My first name is spelled T-E-S-S, last name is U-L-R-E-Y. Like I said, I represent CRHE. I myself am not a Nebraska resident, but I'm a homeschool alumni from the Midwest. My testimony to being Midwestern is that I drove here from Michigan last night because nobody in the Midwest drives if it's possible in under 12 hours, right? So I'm here to speak with you a little bit about this bill and about this consideration. Really, truly urging you to pass this common sense legislation and for Nebraska to take ownership of the potential that they have. So I mentioned that my organization makes policy recommendations, and we are in full support of LB1224. Alongside that, we perform secular research and we host direct programming that supports homeschool alumni as well as actively homeschooling families across the country. As Senator Hunt mentioned, our work is child-centered, not parent-centered, and we believe that support of homeschooling truly involves legislative guidelines. As Executive Director, it is my responsibility to look across a spectrum of homeschool experiences and not just amplify the good outcomes, but realistically address the bad outcomes as well. There can be horrific circumstances when homeschooling is used as a cover of abuse and neglect, and that is why LB1224 is so important. This bill addresses a critical juncture for children who could be those terrible outcomes that we read about in the newspaper and flash across our television screens. Homeschooling isolation can be uniquely totalitarian, and for caregivers with bad intentions, that can be exploited when there is no legislative, structural, or systemic support for the most vulnerable constituents in the state of Nebraska. My research team shared some data with you that illustrates why preventing school withdrawal during an active investigation is a pattern we can point to and work proactively to address. Across the country, reactive withdrawal from school was a part of over a third of the worst cases of abuse, neglect, and fatality. LB1224 identifies a critical intersection of two systems, and as lawmakers, you have the true opportunity right now to protect purposeful homeschooling. Rayleigh Browning is not the only child that this has happened to. It happened to Mimi Torres Garcia in Connecticut as well, and it happened to Jackson Morrow in Michigan. These parents exploited a loophole and they were citing homeschooling, and these children are dead. LB1222 protects vulnerable children within the public school system and truly Nebraska at large without placing any burden on homeschool families who do not have relevant criminal backgrounds or are not under investigation. And I want to stress in this conversation that Child Protective Services is not a perfect system, but we have to work with the opportunities that we have to protect children. The public school systems are not perfect systems either. However, those teachers are held to basic standards when your vulnerable constituents are in their care. And with that lens, CRHE supports every aspect of LB1224 and holds strong that parents convicted of crimes against children should be prevented from isolating their children at home under the guise of homeschooling. Abuse and neglect is the reality for too many children in public school and in homeschool settings. We can't truly measure these statistics, and there will always be more children in public school than are homeschooled. But I would challenge you that there is no acceptable amount of abuse or neglect. I truly applaud the Nebraska legislator, and Senator Hunt especially, for being willing to address a spectrum of homeschooling experiences. To keep the good outcomes, we must be willing to take steps to prevent bad outcomes, and LB1224 does exactly that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Ulrey? Senator Lineski.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for your testimony. Is there any way or any reason you could think that this wouldn't work? Like, why would somebody oppose other than obviously someone who has something to hide? Is there any reason, unforeseen consequences that you can think of?
I am sure that will come after my testimony. But for me, truly, and frankly as a parent myself, no, I don't.